yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't know, it's a vibe. Don't know, it's a vibe. Don't know, yeah. Don't know, it's a vibe. Don't know, yeah. Juice poured up, and I know it's a vibe. Like rolling with a man, I'm a vibe. Said I need more drink inside of me, like bring more cup. Cause right now it's a vibe. Don't know, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't know, yeah. Don't know, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't know, it's a vibe. Don't know, it's a vibe. Don't know, yeah. Don't know, it's a vibe.
Big up Spurs fans near and far. We're here with another episode. This time it's Tottenham v Brighton pre-match preview, and I've got a special guest in the building in Maz. Maz, welcome to the channel. Thank you for accepting the invite. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, man. And yeah, it's still all things Brighton and Spurs. I'm looking forward to it.
No, brilliant. Let's just dive in. I mean, look, how are you finding the season? Can I just get from an outside looking in, and you can see the job Postecoglou's been doing at Spurs. What do you make of the work he's doing, and do Tottenham look legit in your opinion?
I think to say title challenges, I think would be a step too far. However, you're obviously in the mix. You're not that far off the top two. I just think, unfortunately, Man City and Liverpool and even Arsenal are just going to be too strong. I think it's going to be a three-horse race between those three. But up until that Chelsea-Spurs game, and I remember watching that game, which was incredible, I think you guys were doing so well. Everyone was talking about, you know, this is the year for Spurs and you guys are actually going to, you know, be title challengers. But obviously that result, those two injuries to I think suspension to Cuti Romero and Mickey van der Ven and Maddison getting injured. Yeah. I think that obviously was a big blow to you guys' season, losing those two key players. And then since then you've done okay. Like it's not like it's been panic stations or stuff like that. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Ange. I love the way he speaks to the media, love the way he speaks to fans, love the way he treats everyone. And yeah, I think you're infinitely better than last season. You recruited well as well. I think you signed some really good players. So yeah, man, from an outsider, I think Spurs are looking good. They're up there. They're challenging. They're, you know, in that pack. But I just think title challenge will be a step too far, in my opinion. But you never know. Let's see what happens.
Play, man. And I think you give a really quite fair and honest assessment. You know, I think for Spurs, I do think we're still in the challenge. You know what I mean? 7 points off top ain't that bad, given the circumstances as well. But I do agree, when you look at the likes of Liverpool and Man City, I will never say Arsenal look good. But when you look at those two clubs anyway, they do look pretty decent. They do look pretty solid. But let's see. I think there's going to be more twists and turns this season. For me, though, as an outsider looking at Brighton, De Zerbi coming in, I thought Graham Potter did a fantastic job. I thought, and then he took the Chelsea job, and I thought, oh shit, it's going to be, you know, Brighton are going to probably suffer. You bring in De Zerbi, we find out about your great scouting system. You bring all these top players, and then all of a sudden, Brighton looked the real deal. In fact, Brighton was one of the teams, Brighton and Newcastle last season, that nobody wanted to play. So this season, we've rolled up our sleeves. We're expecting something big, a big push. And I look at the table, and you're pretty much in and around where you were last year. I don't know. I just feel like you're just treading water. Would you, as a fan, and I know it might be slightly different because you are doing really, really well to be, you know, in the top 8. Do you feel like you're treading water this season?
Not necessarily. I think because obviously we're in the FA Cup, we're in the Europa League knockout stages, and like you say, we're 8th in the Premier League. So I feel like we're doing well, you know, considering you know, the size of our club, the amount we can pay on wages and the amount we can spend on transfer signings. You know, we've been very shrewd in the transfer window. So yeah, no, I'm really happy as a Brighton fan. Obviously, we've had our ups and downs. Obviously, getting battered by Villa at Villa Park, and then getting battered by Luton 4-0. But then on the flip side, we've had some good results. Obviously, beating you guys at the Amex. So you know, we've got some good results this season. It has been a bit up and down, but our only losses have been Luton, Arsenal, Chelsea, and then Man City. So you know, it's not too bad. Obviously, yeah, I spoke about Villa obviously as well prior to in the season. So yeah, we're doing well in Europe. Like I said, we're in the knockout stages. We're 8th in the Premier League, and we've just come off a really good win against Crystal Palace, albeit a very poor Crystal Palace. But yeah, man, I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I like the way things are going. We had a lot of injuries as well. I think people forget that we've had a lot of injuries to key players. So having those coming back in the next sort of 3 weeks is going to be huge for us. And we've got Matoma back from the Asian Cup as well. I know you guys have got Son coming back as well. So yeah, it should be a very interesting game. I'm looking forward to it.
No, I'm looking forward, and I'm hoping Son is available. I think he's on a private jet heading straight back because we bloody need him with Timo Werner doing absolutely nothing on the left-hand side. I just want to quickly go back to the last game because that was the first time, I have to be honest, where apart from the Wolves game, I actually felt that Spurs, we were outplayed a little bit. I felt like when it came to the pressing game, you had our number. But also you had our number, partly also because we did have a lot of players missing. I mean, we're playing the likes of Skippy in the midfield. That's not going to be happening this time around. You know, we had Richarlison up top, but Brennan Johnson didn't really want it from your guy. In fact, I've seen Brennan Johnson. He's not been the same after Eagle had him in his pocket since the Brighton game. But then towards the end of the game, Tottenham was coming back with the likes of Brian Gil, with the likes of some of the young guns, the Lees as well, coming in, doing his thing. And it's just making me feel like, you know, Brighton is kind of vulnerable. But what is your strengths? How are you going to set up, you reckon, this game? You're coming to back as well. So how do you set up?
So I think, obviously, away is a whole different kettle of fish. I think playing away at your ground is completely different to playing at the Amex. Just purely for the fact that you have got a decent atmosphere now, you've got a good ground, and you do bring the noise. I've noticed that in the past few games I've seen Spurs at your ground. However, if we can get a goal early, I think we can definitely quiet the crowd. I think we can do what we did in that last game. That first half that we played against you at the Amex, I was there, and it was one of the best first halves of football I've seen us play in a long, long time. And just to put out there, there's no Skip that day. Skip didn't play that day, so you can't be blaming Skip.
It was a dusty team, though. I mean, it was a very dusty. You know,
it wasn't your full strength. It wasn't your full strength.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. To be fair, you did have Emerson and Davis at centre back, so I'll give you that one. But yeah, no, that first half of football against you was generally one of the best I've seen us play in a long, long time. And you know, players like Son went missing. Hinshelwood had him in his back pocket. Like you said, Richarlison had a few chances. I think he hit the post as well.
I think he scored an offside goal as well.
He did, yeah. And of course, like you said, Valise came on and scored a goal off the bench, and it was a nervy 10 minutes. That last 10 minutes. Everyone in the stadium was like, shit, Spurs are going to come back. And it was a nervous sort of 10 minutes at the end. But yeah, I think we had your number. And I think just same thing I think we need to do this game coming up. We just need to be compact. We need to be disciplined. I think we showed now with some of the players coming back, we've got a solid foundation. You look at Van Hecker and Dunk, Estepinian at left back and Jack Hinchwood at right back. That's a solid back line. Yeah, some good players in there. I think the only thing I think will potentially that you could win if Matty, I don't know, Matt is Sar's back now for you guys. But
Sar's back, Basuma's back. I mean, we got a full house on against you this weekend, so it's looking long for you guys.
Yeah, so that centre midfield, that's going to be a big battle. I think if you can win that centre midfield battle, which to be honest, on paper, against our centre midfielders, you should be winning that. Pascal Gross and Gilmour, as good as Pascal Gross is, he's not that physical presence that you're going to get overrun by a Basuma and a Mate Sarr. So, yeah, I think that midfield battle is going to be key. If we can win that midfield battle, I don't know how, but if we can do it, and if we get like players like Matoma back and, you know, with Estepinian down at left-hand side, we can, going forward, and João Pedro as well, who's been on an incredible form, I think we can hurt you. It just depends on, how we deal with that midfield battle, I think, in my opinion.
Maz, and I'm just doing this simply for the Spurs fans as well in the chat. Big up to everyone in the chat, Jonas, JJ, Lenny Moon. Could you just go through from the back line how you're likely to set up? I have to say that I am pretty impressed by your goalkeeper, and still he does look like a ball playing keeper. No one really talks about him, but he's actually quite decent. And where did you? Is he from your academy or something? Was he always in and around the squad? Where did you find him? And then just let us know the players, because even João Pedro, I was looking at him at was it Watford last season, and I thought he's the type of player that I like. That's why I was a big fan and happy that Spurs bought Richarlison, because I thought when he was at Watford and at Everton, he was a player. I was one of the few Spurs fans who believed in Richarlison would come good. And here we are today. He's got 10 Premier League goals. So need I say more? And I think João Pedro in a Big Six team has the potential to do that as well. And I mean that not in a derivative way. But if you could just let us know what your starting lineup would be or what it's likely to be, hopefully, this weekend.
Yes, just to answer a question on Steele. We got him from Sunderland a couple of seasons ago now, and he had a bit of a torrid time at Sunderland. To be honest, he got memed a lot. He was on that Sunderland Till I Die documentary, and he got a battering for that. So he wasn't actually that good. But yeah, he's like you say, he's a ball playing goalkeeper, and we've also got Bart Verbruggen. He's actually doing a bit of an Arteta what he's doing at Arsenal. He's playing Raya and Ramsdale. He's not really sure who he likes most. So yeah, Verbruggen and Steele do usually rotate, and I don't know which one. I can't tell you which one he's going to go with because we had Verbruggen in the sticks against Palace. So I'm not sure who he's going to go for, but both very, very good goalkeepers, and I'm happy with either, to be honest. And then going to the sort of defensive line, if all fit, it'll be Estepinian at left back with either Igor or Van Hecken. Most likely Van Hecker and Dunk as centre back pairing. Yeah, big fan of Van Hecker. He's a great.
He's like a Van de
player.
Ven.
Yeah.
He's quite solid, isn't he?
Yeah, he's proper. And he came out of nowhere as well, which was one of those nice surprises. As in, not from nowhere, but we loaned him out to Blackburn. He went on loan and he came back, and he's just been a revelation at centre back with Dunk. So that's been good. And then Jack Hinshelwood, the right back, who's again been a revelation this season. And then you go into Pascal Gross and Gilmour as a sort of midfield too. And then if Matoma's back, he'll be Matoma on the left. And then we'll have who will go through the middle. So it might be João Pedro and Welbeck as the two. And then on the right-hand side, it'll be Buonanotte, most likely, because again, Adingra is at the AFCON. And also Ansu Fati's just coming back from injury. Like, we've got a lot of injuries coming back. Enciso's out injured. So we're really lacking in wingers, but that's most likely going to be the lineup for the game.
Yeah, no, you know what? And that Andringa, I think he's a quality player, man. I loved it, and I thought it was a coup. You stole Ansu Fati from Spurs, to be honest. But I think the way Spurs will line up, I think this will be the first time since the Chelsea game that we've got a full squad, because I think we'll have Vicario. It will be Udogie, Pedro Porro, Van de Ven, Romero, and that's going to make a big difference. I think you guys really exploited the Ben Davis and Emerson Royale. You're not getting that. João Pedro doesn't want it from Pedro. He doesn't want it from Romero. Brazil versus Argentina, he's not up for that. Midfield of Bissouma, he's coming home. Pape Sarr, Madders can't be stopped. Son on the left. Richarlison's on form. He's got to start up top. And Kulusevski on the right-hand side. At home, it's looking like a long day for Brighton, in my honest opinion. I think once we get our first 11, it'll be interesting to see how many games can we keep these guys fit and together. Because I think our first 11 is as good as any, if not probably the best first 11 in the whole league. I reckon we beat Man City with this team. I reckon we beat Liverpool with this team. And I know, Maz, you're kind of semi-wincing like wind is blowing in your eyes, but it's the truth. If you think we've got a 3-3 draw at the Etihad, with Ben Davis and Emerson Royale centre-backs at the Etihad, we beat Liverpool with that same team. And then we outplayed Arsenal at the Emirates. I can't even lie to you. I'm really, really licking my lips for the game this weekend. Can I just ask you a quick question though? A lot of Spurs fans are shaking their bum violently for your striker Ferguson, really violently. Is he the real deal? He's not scored many goals this season, but should we sit up and take him seriously? Is he worth 120 million in your opinion? Is he potentially the next Harry Kane? I mean, you see him, week in, week out. Yeah.
Potential-wise, in terms of his ceiling, 100%. However, in saying that, the last 3 months, he has been way below what we expect of him. He scored a hat-trick against Newcastle, and then ever since then, and he got a goal away to Nottingham Forest. But aside from that, generally, he's not been scoring, really. He's not been offering too much to the side. So right now, I don't think he's worth 120 million by any stretch of the imagination. However, his ceiling is so high, like he has got the potential to be a Harry Kane. But just right now, he is struggling for form. He's not been the Ferguson that we know and love from last season. So yeah, he's got a lot of work to do this season, I think, just to re-establish himself. And maybe he played too many games last season. It was too early for him because he's still 18 or 19. So
18,
yeah, so he's still super young and he's still got a lot of time to develop. So I'm not worried in that sense. But right now, no, he's not hitting the heights that we know of him. And funny enough, he actually started against Crystal Palace and he actually played okay, but again, didn't really do much. So yeah, he's definitely a player. There's a player in there just right now, not the best.
And just sorry, and forgive me for not checking this before we jumped on. Enciso, where has he gone? Is he one of the ones who's on the injury list as well? Because I haven't heard much about him. So.
Yeah, he's been out injured the whole season, which has been a great shame because last season he was unbelievable. Obviously, Puskás nominated as well. Yeah, he's honestly one of the best players at the club when fit. So yeah, we've got Ansu Fati coming back from injury. We've got Enciso, he's still yet to come back. Like I said, Adingra's been out. Matoma's been out. Our most influential attacking players have all been injured or been out at some point. So Danny Welbeck also loves an injury. So yeah, we've been unlucky with injuries, but once we've got a full team back, again, I think we got a very, very good depth of squad, and just the first 11's pretty good as well. So yes, it's looking good. It should be a good game.
It's quite scary actually. It does sound like a really formidable team. So I'm wanting to wrap up. So I need to first of all hear your prediction for this game, and then I'm going to ask you straight after what good looks like for Brighton this season. So what's your prediction for this weekend's match?
I'm going to be positive. I always like to be positive. Whether that
you don't have to on this channel. You can be honest. Don't be positive. Be honest. I'm joking.
I'm being honest, bro. I'm being positive and honest. I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton. 2-1 Brighton.
Really?
Yeah, man. We're going to do it. Don't worry. It's all good.
Without your
2-1 Brighton. Yeah, we don't need that. Honestly, you know what I'm going to say right now? I don't think Romero is as good as you lot think he is, and he's going to get exposed.
I disagree. I don't think João Pedro wants that kind of smoke, to be honest with you. I mean,
we'll see, bro. We'll see.
I'm going
when he's making Romero dance at Spurs, then we'll see. But I'm confident.
For me, if I'm right and Spurs play their first 11, I don't want to see Timo Werner starting. I don't want to see Brennan Johnson starting. If Kulusevski starts and Son starts, it could be long. I'm going 3-0 Spurs. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go down to Paddy Power and put money. It's not financial advice, any of you taking my prediction and running off to the local bookies, but I'm ready to put a tenner at Paddy Power that Spurs win comfortably this weekend. Also because we were royally pissed at the way that we lost the game to you, and I think you guys needed beating, and we knew that we were semi had our hands behind our back with the team that we were able to bring out. So I do think Spurs will be sourcing this weekend. Maz, what is there's murmurs about De Zerbi going to Chelsea, and I don't. Maybe we can touch on that on another day. But what does good look like for Brighton this season? You said you were pleasantly surprised. I was quite surprised that you were quite happy with where you are, because I was expecting. I don't know why, but a lot of the opposition fans are actually expecting more from Brighton than the actual Brighton fans. We were expecting you to maybe push on. Be doing a Villa, be doing a Newcastle, where you're challenging for Champions League football the way you guys were sourcing last year. But you seem pretty content with this kind of 8th in the table. So what does good look like for Brighton this season?
I think you got to remember as well, it's our first ever time playing in European competition. I know you guys aren't playing in Europe this season, so it must be quite nice to have the 3 weeks. But no, like all joking aside, we are competing in Europe for the first time ever. We don't know; it's an unknown quantity for us. We've never done it before, so to be able to say we finished top of the group in the Europa League, to go through to the next round, and to still be 8th in the league and still be in the FA Cup, like I would have bitten your hand off if you told me that at the beginning of the season. To say you're in the top 10. You're in the knockout rounds for the Europe, and you're still in the FA Cup come February the 7th. I would have been like, yeah, cool. I'll take that. I think we've got to have some perspective. We've got to have a bit of we can't get too gassed. We can't get too carried away, because of course we'd love to as football fans and say, look, we're going to go on a title charge, but we've got to be realistic as well. We don't have, we don't have a squad when they're all fully fit. Maybe we're definitely good enough to be a top 6 team, top 6, top 8, definitely. But you've got to be a bit realistic about the other people around you. You know, you got like I mentioned, you got Liverpool, Arsenal, yourself, Spurs. Who have I missed? Liverpool,
Aston Villa, Newcastle.
Yeah, Aston Villa, Newcastle. You got some really, really good sides. So you got to be a bit realistic as well of like your realistic expectations for the season. So look, come the end of the season, if we secure Conference League football, and let's say we have a good run in Europe and we get to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, I will be more than happy. I think that will be a successful season considering the amount of injuries and the amount of games we would have played come the end of the season.
Yeah, no, fair play. I think for me, on the other hand, I think anything was better than the dusty football that we had last season. So if we're able to get Europa or even Champions League football, it's a plus.
Yeah.
But Postecoglou is somebody that's always looking up. So for me, I like us to just try and hang in the title challenge for as long as possible for me, and that's a great season. But we've already had a good season under Postecoglou. The football and the respect has come back, and even the way you're talking about Spurs is different to how you probably would have spoken about my club last season. Do you know what I mean? And so for that fact, I'm happy and I'm grateful to Postecoglou. But I think it's going to be a real interesting game. Maz, thank you. I know you're doing this. You're big on the Brighton stream. Do you want to shout out your channel, mate?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Seagulls Social on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all of that good stuff, and also Spotify, Apple. We stream all our, post all our audio stuff as well, but it's also video based as well. So yeah, Seagulls Social, and my own pages is Maz Mirzadeh, which is tough to spell, but Mirzadeh for anyone who wants to follow me.
Hey, Maz, now big up to you. It's been a pleasure. Look, Maz, I do this thing now, and I'm hoping that we can even find 5 minutes on the weekend. And I'm shameless because I haven't done it to date, which is win, lose, or draw. Let's have a 5-minute check-in on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Adult to adult, quick convo, and then let the best team win.
No, I love that, bro. Yeah, no, good luck. And yeah, generally, I'm a big fan of Spurs. I've got nothing bad against Spurs. So, yeah, no, hopefully it's a good game. Obviously, of course, I wish we win that game. But like you said, win, draw, or lose, I'll speak to you Sunday. I'm busy Saturday, but I'll speak to you Sunday.
Big up, big up. Thanks, Maz. Big up to everyone in the chat. JJ here today, Jonas, Alan Bennett. It was short and sweet. You heard it here first. Come on, you Spurs. Good night, everyone.
Done, yeah, yeah, yeah. Done,